Welcome to the 27th.
You're way off, Matt. Maybe not by much. I think by 10, but...
Not by much, just one half of the amount of episodes we have so far.
I may be wrong in saying 10. It might be 18. 17, 18, 19, somewhere around there. Hey guys, what's up?
Welcome back to North American Scum. If you've been watching so far, if you've been watching our podcast, then first of all, you're a psychic. But if you've been listening to the podcast, then you've probably caught on to the fact that every other episode done by me has been a Kanye record. So we are here to discuss Kanye West's third studio album, Graduation.
Graduation. You know, before this episode, I was talking to quite a few people and looking up a bunch of videos and whatnot on Graduation. And one thing I didn't really understand when I started looking at it beforehand was that this is a fairly beloved album. A lot of people really like this record, apparently.
Yeah, not to spoil how we feel about the record or anything, but we were not expecting that.
Well, I wasn't expecting it to be so big. Well, I mean, I guess I kind of was. Stronger is on here. But, I mean, it only makes it harder for me to say that, I think the record is just okay. And I feel like that's not, something that's super hidden about it. It's going to be obvious as we talk about it.
The thing about this record that would make me understand it being really beloved by, majority of people is how commercial it is compared to the other two that came before it.
Yeah, well, but... Well, I guess we'll get into that later because there's just already a problem with that statement in general. So I guess we get started. Mm-hmm. Yeah, with Good Morning.
The first time that a record did not start off with a skit, and that is strange.
Well, I mean...
It's not bad.
It's not... You could say it's strange, but in the fake context that we have for the Graduation trilogy, essentially Kanye's left college already.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to meet up with Ray Davis Dean or whatever his role in that thing was. So him not being here in this metaphorical story that we probably made up, it doesn't really bother me. I mean, the song as an intro though, it works. It works pretty well.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I think I do think it's the weakest intro track so far.
Oh, hands down.
But
yeah.
I still think that it kind of encapsulates the biggest theme in this record, which is just Kanye talking about him and his success in the rap game.
Yeah, pretty much.
How he's kind of graduating in the rap game to another level, you know?
Yeah, and almost like the others, he doesn't mention much of graduation or college after the fact. It's more like an aesthetic that sits outside of the record and whatnot. It's metaphorical. Yeah. I mean, it's either way. The album starts off with that warm and cozy beat, which is that it then transitions to a choir sample from Elton John's "Somebody Save My Life Tonight," alongside Kanye's simple but memorable "Good Morning" hook. And
yeah,
honestly, am I right in saying that this song, and as well as the rest of the album, feels a lot more simple, much more basic, kinda?
Okay, that you're opening the biggest can of worms in the first song.
There's no reason to hide it. This is
it's so okay. This song is divided into two sections for me, and I think that section one that this song is part of, definitely you can tell at least a little bit from this first track that things sound a little dumbed down.
Yeah. His flow feels slower, much less wordy than previous intros, including the first one, We Don't Care, which is such a lyrical start for the record, compared to this one, which is just... I mean, the lyrics cover what we basically found out at the end of the last record, that he's graduating from the rap game to do his own thing, change the game. He also lightly mentions his early struggle in the industry.
Yeah.
Stuff we kind of already know at this point, and we've kind of experienced on previous albums. So I felt a little bit, I don't know, repeated to at this point, and this is a problem that'll pop up a lot. I mean, this still has some good bars on it. Personal favorites be I'm like the Fly Malcolm X by any means necessary.
So he hasn't lost the Kanye charm completely.
No,
His flow feels a little weaker than usual, but he's still, obviously, this is Kanye.
You want to know what I think it is? I think it's not that he's lost the charm, it's that he's trying something different. Because as we'll find out with time to come, that Kanye has always been Kanye, and everything he makes is the most Kanye thing he could ever do. So, including 808's Beautiful Dark Twisted and anything that comes after. It's not like he's selling himself out. This is not a case where someone dumbs their sound down to completely cater to the masses. Now, there's a similar thing that he does that's not completely catering to the masses for money or wealth or fame. That's what he's already been doing. He's already made the wealth and fame. There's no need for him to do that. So it's done for a completely different reason, which I'm sure I'll talk about later. That comes up later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but other than the other line, the Malcolm X line, some people graduate but be still stupid, which is grammatically incorrect.
I never noticed that one.
It's just ironic. And that one in the Rosie Perez line, which is I think is iconic. I don't know. Sounds
I'm pretty sure it's iconic. I mean, looking at every ass has always been a line that stuck with me.
Yeah, that whole first verse, pretty much. I mean, it feels like I don't know, like it's a good intro, but I'm not nearly as impressed as I am with the previous ones.
It's not impressive because of what we've been exposed to before.
Yeah, and that
by the same artist.
And if you're this is a problem with people who. I wouldn't even call it a problem. It's just if certain people jump in the artist discographies at certain times. So imagine you're introduced to Graduation first. Like, I don't know. I could see why some see it as like a nostalgic or favorite. I know I was a relatively young age when this album came out, but I remember it coming out. Like, this is one of the few, like, when I was younger, I remember when it was out. I remember Stronger being on the radio and a bunch of other songs I heard from it. I didn't know it was Kanye at the time, but I just knew that it came out. So. And
I'm going to be honest, but before we came back to this record, I remembered this first, part of the album a lot more fondly than how it felt listening through it for this.
Yeah, no, actually, I mean, I think this, if I'm not wrong, this was my first Kanye record. My friend brought a CD home from California, and it happened to be Graduation, and we played it on the trip to, Austin and whatnot, and, that's how I remember most of it. So much that Stronger, of course, stuck with me, and then I Wonder and Flashing Lights have always stuck with me as songs from this album that I love. So, yeah, which I feel like we can move on.
Sure, yeah. We can move on to Champion, which I love the sample to death.
Yes.
But the start of this and the end of Good Morning have no flow into each other at all.
I would say that, but then, you know what I thought about when I was, listening to this? There's a I was gonna mention this later when we got to Stronger, but I guess I'll mention it here, is that in a way the first 3 songs on this record feel very similar to Late Registration's intro, a slower intro song, and then a song celebrating Kanye's success, and then the hit single of the record. And that second song is the super grand, I mean not nearly as grand as Touch the Sky, but it's still this grand explosion of sound with these synth electronic pop sounds that Kanye's this is the whole thing with this record. He's introducing this new pop stadium sound that he wants to pull into full force.
I can see him approaching it from that angle, but it does not work here. I don't think it works.
I mean, I guess it's because I'm comparing it to the second song in Late Reg, that it doesn't feel as explosive. I listened to the two back to back just to kind of see, but it's not grand in the same way that Touch the Sky is. I can't pinpoint what exactly makes it like that. I honestly think, for me, when I was listening through it, once I got here, I started to realize what ended up being one of my biggest problems with the album is that a lot of the instrumentals are pretty lacking in depth. Yeah.
For Ye's standards.
Honestly.
And they don't evolve that much through the song themselves, and pretty much every Kanye song up to this point has at least checked one of those boxes.
Right. I guess that kind of opens my eyes on that, because now I'm thinking about it. It was kind of hard to see because it still sounds like Kanye, and it still looks like Kanye, and it still acts like Kanye. I was like, what's wrong? It
still tastes like
this?
Kanye.
It still tastes like Kanye.
It's got a very like Kanye scent to it, you know?
Yeah, I was trying to pinpoint what exactly I felt, so like that was off about it. And the more like you mentioned that, and it kind of clicks for me. These instrumentals aren't nearly as good. They're going for a bigger feel, like an electronic, more grand feel, but like not in the same way of something what like brass would sound like.
The thing that gets me about that is like he's got stuff that would work really well on a bigger sound. I think that the bridge for Champion
yes,
would be amazing on a song that actually had like big sound. Like, not to reference future albums too hard, but that bridge feels like something that would fit on the grandiose of something off MBDTF.
It honestly felt like it would have fit on older albums too, like just that bridge alone.
Yeah, honestly, that would probably fit really well on Dropout.
Yeah, but moving on to the lyrics, it's about Kanye boasting his champion, how big he is. Same thing as Good Morning. We're going to be hearing this a lot with this record.
Yeah.
There's a personal favorite lyric I do have, though. It's like, I don't see why I need a stylist. When I shop so much, I speak Italian. Referencing all the brands of Italian, just brand name clothing and accessories like Versace and all that. I got a good chuckle out of that one. But going back to that bridge, it really is my favorite part of the song.
Oh yeah, by far.
Catchy and upbeat it is. And the other thing is, apparently this song is about his dad. Like, I was looking...
Not entirely.
Like, he
has, like, a reference to it.
Right, but I saw him, like, I remember reading about the Steely Dan sample and how he wrote to them asking if he could clear it, that it was about his dad and whatnot. So that's where I got that information from. I was wondering, like, I mean, like, I know he mentions it, but not... It also doesn't feel... It does feel like he doesn't, like, elaborate. Like, he goes into it on one and a half verses, and that's it.
Yeah. He brings it up, but it's not the central focus of the song. The central focus of it is still Kanye's victory lap because he is the champion after all of his success.
Right.
At this point, you're really hoping... Like, okay, it's not been bad up to this point.
No, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, at this point, you're hoping that the appeal of these instrumentals and just the songs in general is going to get stronger. Like the next song, Stronger. The most unexpected crossover event in history with genuinely a pretty catchy beat to it. I do think that the instrumental... it's hard to give compliments because every time I do, my brain's like, yeah, but it could have been a lot better.
You don't want to oversell this record, I guess.
The thing is, I want to really like Stronger because I love the idea of harder, better, faster, stronger with Kanye rapping over it.
Yeah, no. Honestly, I can't underestimate how great that sample is from Daft Punk. And not just because I love Daft Punk, I fucking love them, but just how automatically catchy it is on its own, and then add the fantastic chorus to the mix, and then you have one of Kanye's probably, honestly, best choruses. Like, it's not surprising that this became one of the biggest hits.
Yeah,
like,
genuinely.
Melody, chorus-wise, catchiness-wise, this is one of his best up there. I mean, I think all of his hits have that power, but this one especially.
The chorus is the best part of the song, and it is a great part of the song.
And the instrumental, I do think so. Like, those synth blasts in the song really give it an urgency. There's not a darkness to this record, but it does feel more epic compared to the other two. More like almost like a movie in a sense.
I can see it attempting to go to that and fill out that sound, but I feel like it doesn't hit the nail quite on the head there.
At least in this song for me, it does. I
can see it on this song. For, like, this first section of the album, I can see it on this song probably the most. There's one problem that stuck out to me with this song, though. For the first verse, like the intro verse that Kanye gives you, he puts these, like, layered vocals that are an octave below his own bars at the start. And I really wish he would have put something like that through the rest of the verses in the song, because a lot of this song is lacking any low end. And it gets kind of grating because of that. Because it's trying to go for that big sound, you kind of want the bassy feeling. It has it in the choruses. And that's when it's, like, great.
The low end comes from the kicks. You're right. I haven't really noticed much bass on this record from now that you mention it. Like, I don't remember much, like, bass, more sub bass, and more kicks. Those kicks are loud. When they come in, they're loud. And it goes back to this whole thing of him wanting to do that stadium sort of thing, where it's big.
But I feel like the sound isn't quite filled out enough on Stronger for me.
Yeah, for me, it comes from the hook, the chorus.
I can see that.
The synths, the electronics. Honestly, he wanted to meld this sound with like electronics into, quote, the new age or whatever you'd call it.
Black Eyed Peas.
Now that you mention it, Matt, there's a chance that the Black Eyed Peas could have been inspired by Graduation.
Oh, definitely.
Like the electronic part of it, I would not be surprised.
will.i.am is a huge fan of Stronger. I don't doubt it.
Surprised. Yeah, especially with those 010 hits that he has. I do not want to think about them right now, though. But yeah, going lyrically, it's just more the same as the last songs.
There are two lyrics that I absolutely love on this track, though.
Okay.
Heard they'd do anything for a Klondike. Well, I'd do anything for a blonde dyke.
I wrote that down as questionable.
I think it's like you know how Kanye has had like, remember the dark skin, light skin Michael Jackson?
The Michael Jackson line. Yeah.
It feels like one of those to me, where it's so heinous and like raunchy that it goes past the point of being offensive and just becomes funny again because of how like stupid the song is.
Right. Might I mention to you that I felt the same way about that Michael Jackson line? So I mean, now I don't. Like, the more I look at it, both of those lines, I'm like, that's kind of funny.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
And the line, "Let's get lost tonight. You could be my Black Kate Moss tonight."
Yeah.
It's in the same reign of just being ridiculously stupid.
Yeah.
And childish. And
it's only like not backed up, but it's complemented, I guess, with these repeated lyrics of just surviving through the worst to get to where he is right now in the rap game and whatnot. He doesn't feel like he's taking himself as seriously as before.
No, not at all.
So I cannot completely fault the album for that, but I guess as we keep going, we'll figure out that it starts to get grating. I mean, it already kind of is at this point.
Yeah, and if like at this point, I wonder if it could get any worse. Okay. That was terrible. That's the worst one I've ever done. But okay, genuinely, I wonder. One of my favorite samples on a Kanye song by miles.
I agree 100%. This is my favorite sample. Might be my favorite song instrumentally.
And at the same time, some of the worst Kanye bars by miles. I think this is the first time that I've facepalmed at a bar as of this point in his discography, and I am sure it is the first time Kanye is the worst part of a Kanye song.
Okay, you're not going to hear it from me because nothing bothered me about Kanye in the song. So you go on about that when we get to it.
Okay.
As for me, I love how soulful and inspiring it sounds. And after a couple phrases of the chorus, that booming percussion comes back in, along with the synths and strings to fill that mix-up of this grand, epic, inspirational sound that he's trying to go for.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to mention this now, I guess, because of that whole thing that I read somewhere where the Kanye's goal with the record was to create the stadium sound, particularly so that it would resonate with people at concerts. And I could see what he was trying to do, but like we mentioned before, the sound of it kind of leads it to being too simple and too dumbed down for us to enjoy nearly as much as the previous records.
Yeah. I feel like this album would be easy to enjoy at a concert.
Yeah, no. I mean, Stronger is literally sounds like a perfect song. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these songs kind of do. Flashing Lights, Champion, this one.
Mm-hmm.
But at least, okay, I love the strings on this song so much. And the synths during the bridge. Like I said, this is one of my favorite instrumentals on the record. It's melodic, it's emotional, it's beautiful. I love it.
It breaks the slog, quote unquote, that we've been having to deal with, where the songs don't evolve in their sound at all or have no depth to them.
I'm not going to.
Because this has both.
Yeah, it does. And lyrically, too. Honestly, it's, ever so slightly more introspective than the previous three. Like, how he talks about Kanye talks about how people put aside like following their dreams just because of the situation they're in. I think that's what it's about. I may be wrong, but you mentioned some of the worst Kanye lines.
Yeah. So up until the 2-minute mark, you just hear bars that are at blurry face levels of making me laugh every time I hear them.
Wow.
Look, okay, Julian, the delivery of it.
It's the delivery. It's not the bar.
No, the bars are terrible too. You
okay,
say, I think I'm never wrong.
That's why I think it's a delivery.
But then, you know what? Maybe you're right.
He was trying to go for something with that. I'm pretty sure
he misses it so hard. It's not good. It's not good. It makes me laugh every time I hear it because Kanye, of all people, is delivering like embarrassingly bad bars.
Yeah, for me, it's the inflection more than anything. I can't hate on the lyrics too terribly much here. You've
also got the lyric though. How many ladies in the house? How many ladies in the house without a spouse? Something in your blouse got me feeling so aroused.
How did I miss that?
How did you miss that?
I don't know how I missed that. Maybe I was too impressed with the instrumental.
I mean, because for me, he has done levels of introspection in his lyrics a lot better here, and he does it a lot better later in the album too. You've got these. I'm cherry picking the worst parts of this. I will say that, but the rest of it, while the concept of it is not bad at all, and I like it, the delivery of it is not impressive. Usually Kanye will have a few bars per song that I'm like, holy shit. There's none of that here, except for holy shit, that was bad.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier with how it feels a bit slower. It feels a bit dumbed down, kind of. I mean, I know what you mean with that flow, like where he's just da. Yeah,
and it literally takes up 2 minutes of the song.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I won't call it nostalgia because it's not nostalgia, just personal favoritism that I don't like. I'm not completely bothered by the song like lyrically, or it's the instrumental just sitting there making me enjoy it so much more.
I love the instrumental on this track so much. It's just his lyrics that I cannot stand, and the delivery.
Yeah. Oh wow.
I never thought I would see the day where I'm complaining about the delivery from Kanye West on a Kanye West song.
I don't know why you thought that because there's some stuff later that is.
No. Up to this point in the discography.
Oh, okay.
I had never thought that. It happens again. It does definitely happen again. But like up until this point, it hadn't really happened.
Yeah, I understand.
I was just sitting there living my good life thinking Kanye couldn't make a bad song.
And then Kanye made a bad song with good life.
I honestly think it's not really like a bad hook too much.
No, it's not.
And it's not really bad bars. But the sound of it is like I talked about how the songs are barely evolving in their sound and have no real depth to them.
Yeah.
So get that, and then put T-Pain on top of it.
Look, I've been around long enough in this 2010s era of music, okay? So autotune has become a huge thing just in music. Mm-hmm. So forgive me if I didn't glance twice at the fact that T-Pain was like just this auto-tune like motherfucker singing on the song. The joke is that T-Pain is all auto-tune. Like that's the.
He's like the king of auto-tune, right? Wasn't he like the first person to bring a big auto-tune track?
No, I think that was actually Cher, and that was in the 80s. So, but no, don't quote me on that. But in hip hop, his whole thing is like, oh, he uses auto-tune and it's funny. But the 2000s were a weird time, Matt. Either way, so don't forgive me if it didn't bother me. The thing that bothered me, though, is the fact that Kanye samples Pretty Young Thing by Michael Jackson. And not just... Okay, look.
I forgot about that.
I love Pretty Young Thing. I love Michael Jackson, okay? I know you don't, but this is about me right now. So I'm becoming Kanye. Okay, so he uses the worst part of the song to sample in the song Pretty Young Thing there's already a high-pitched-esque voice that Kanye would probably use in his song that just it's chipmunked to hell. And that's just part of the song. Luckily, it's at the end of the song, so it's almost like an outro sort of thing. Like, it's not prominent throughout the entire thing. But of all the parts for Kanye to sample on a Pretty Young Thing, he chooses the one part that I don't like about that song. Which, like I said, it kind of like falls into it perfectly fine. He actually has to pitch it down to match the song. I guess this would be the other time that he pitched the sample down. But for me,
I remember when you had the epiphany that this fucking sampled Pretty Young Thing, and your reaction was amazing.
Oh god, yeah, I was just like, come on, Kanye, like, come on. And then, oh, what did I fucking expect from it? It's Kanye. Oh well.
Yeah.
Lyrically,
I mean, like, lyrically, it's just there. It's the same exact thing that every other song has been. Kanye is jacking himself off because he was successful. And you know what gets me? There's a lyric in this song that perfectly encapsulates what was kind of my problem with the sound of this album. I'm glad that you brought up Kanye was aiming for a stadium sound, because that makes me like it a little bit more. But he has this lyric. 50 told me, go ahead, switch the style up, and if they hate, let them hate and watch the money pile up. When I read that, it really just felt like that was cementing Kanye did not care in this album and he was just making money.
I don't know, man, because it's hard to tell at this point. The lines between genuine Kanye and fame Kanye, as I'll call him, are starting to blur.
Yeah.
And when he talks, there's times when I've heard him, like I watched a couple of interviews before this, and when he talks about the sound of this album, he sounds genuinely kind of excited to do this new thing. So It's hard to tell for me, and I'm not going to go saying like he sold out, because there are other artists who deserve that title way more. Unnamed artists, I'm not going to say, but Kanye, I don't think I feel like Kanye is the one that's kind of stayed true to what he wanted to make for the longest time, at least for quite a while. His desire to go towards his more resonating sound is like good. I like where he was going with it, but it makes the album feel so much more accessible and basic.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing, but as long as the songs are entertaining and good. And
yeah, like fucking Presidents of the United States of America, that's an easy to listen to album. It's dumb easy to listen to. There's not a huge amount of depth to the songs, but it's
like very little.
There's very little depth to the songs.
I would say even less than Kanye.
Definitely, but like it still needs to be like entertaining.
Right, and I guess the instrumental would be the next place to look. If it's not, that's kind of how I felt with I Wonder. But so it's this like synth heavy track with like some crunk influence. I hear a lot of 2000s in the song. A lot. I was around for it. So
not
like,
just because of T-Pain, right?
No, not just because of T-Pain. Like T-Pain and Lil Wayne are two things that were bound to show up on a Kanye record in this time period anyway. If you knew anything about like 2007, around that time, I know they were huge from what I remember, especially Lil Wayne, from what I could remember. But the sound of it, I want to say it feels dated, to me ever so slightly nostalgic, but I don't know, too much of that crunk synth sound. There's a very specific synth sound that they come up with in that genre a lot.
I think the most dated thing about this whole song is T-Pain's outro, which I hate with all of my soul.
Oh, God.
I don't know. It's one of the most grating things in the whole album.
There's that other lyric that I'm thinking of that Kanye... Fuck, was it? Have you ever popped champagne on a plane while getting some brain, whipped it out, and she said, I'd never seen snakes on a plane? I had a hard chuckle when I read that. I couldn't tell. Like, it's also, earlier when you said, like, that's just a Kanye
one of those
line.
lyrics.
Okay. Every time I, like, have to, like, bring it to you and question, like, Matt, is this actually funny or is this just stupid? And you kind of explain it to me.
Those lyrics are on the same level as this, where I am I can't tell if I'm laughing at it or laughing with it, but it's making me laugh.
That's a good way to describe it for sure.
I mean, if I'm laughing with it, I feel like either a shitty person or a dumbass. And if I'm laughing at it...
It's probably a dumbass, Matt. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I guess we could move on then, because I'm not... this is not a personal favorite.
Oh, yeah, no, this is a contestant for my least favorite track on the album.
I would say that, but then there's
the other one, I would say, objectively, is miles below it, but personal taste, this is a contestant for my least favorite.
It's there. It sounds like the album, I guess. It's a Kanye song.
It sounds like the album, I guess.
Yeah, that's how indifferent I am on it. Okay. Can't tell me nothing.
We only deliver hot takes here. Can't tell me nothing.
Can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me anything. I'll deliver whatever fucking opinion I want.
What's great is, though, after the kind of like... I called it a disaster in my notes. After the disaster, we're immediately hit with one of, if not the worst hooks and choruses in a Ye song.
Yeah.
I just like... I'm hating on this album so hard, and my anger is like boiling up more and more, and I want to hold myself back because I feel like I'm being unfair.
You're partially being unfair, but no, I wouldn't even say that, honestly, because this album is it's a step down from the other two. So when you're looking at it compared to the other two, you feel super betrayed, I guess. Not even
that's kind of a good way to put it. It like when I got to this song, it hit me how long these songs have been for Kanye. Like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 3.5 minutes. But usually that would be good in a Kanye song because he would evolve the sound. It would like just keep doing interesting things through the song itself. But they almost never do.
Yeah, like We Major or
We Major is such a perfect example.
Or like songs that are this long evolving beats with these ever-changing emotional, not even like the emotional ones, like, because like I mentioned last call, that one's emotional, but like We Major's not terribly emotional. It's just a really fucking good song.
Like the closest thing we've had is I Wonder.
Yeah, and that was short. That song's not that long.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like Can't Tell Me Nothing. The lyrics cover Kanye's tendency to do whatever the hell he wants, and simply because he has a lot of money, but it also it like branches on some of the themes of Late Reg with like how money affects people and like their perception, like buy rich things to make themselves like feel better and whatnot. But I feel Late Reg does it so much better. Mentioning, I don't have to mention that. And
it just, honestly, the lyrics here kind of didn't make themselves unique at all to me.
A lot of it feels like it gels together with this whole like I'm Kanye, I'm great kind of sound. And I hate to say that I don't want to say he's stooped down to the level of like when you would complain about Jay-Z, like just being like, I'm Jay-Z, I'm rich, I'm famous, I'll kick your ass.
That literally, that's what he's doing this whole album. Oh my God, you're right.
It was foreshadowing having, okay, I hate to say that too, because I don't want to be, rude to Jay-Z's like legacy.
This doesn't discredit everything that he's done up to this point.
Yes, and honestly,
more than anything, it's
a misstep. I don't want to say
it's a misstep
because this doesn't continue from here. He has different sounds. He changes everything up with every other album, so it's not like like this is the point when he fucked up. He's done for good. No, because the next album he does something completely different, and the one after that he goes back to the rap sound, and the one after that he tries to imitate Death Grips. So like it's completely different thing every time you get a Kanye album. So I'm not gonna say he's selling out, but man, does this album feel so just off.
It doesn't feel like Kanye standards.
Yeah, I have to say that. Now that makes me wonder how we're gonna look at 808s, but that's not today.
Don't even say that word yet.
Not today. That's the next one, and we're not getting to anytime soon. But
I will spoil. 808s is not going to be for a while. It's going to take a cool down period to unpack that can of, like, not even worms.
It's
a can of snakes. A barrel of snakes that is an album, 808s and Heartbreaks.
It's because we're so, like, invested into Kanye, and I know you have such a hard opinion on that record previously, and you have to, like, make sure you got it right before you go back into it. But we're straying off. I mean, are we? It's Kanye. We're still talking about Kanye.
We're still talking about Kanye. Yeah, we're not doing a Beck quite. We're not becking, like, completely.
Is that the new term for
becking? Yeah, that's
when
the
we stray
verbiage.
off. When we stray off to a different topic,
different
rather
album,
than the
different
album.
topic.
Yeah. We'll call it becking. Coin this term. All right. Going back to Can't Tell Me Nothing. You said that, like, it has, like, his worst hooked.
Yeah.
I like how high and mighty his attitude there is, but it's so... Is it childish, would you say?
Yes.
Nah,
because
you can't tell me nothing.
that's it. You know when it was, like, done better?
When?
Breathe in, breathe out.
Yes.
This is trying to hit the punchiness and, like, fuck you that Ludacris has. And is missing the mark completely.
Breathe in, breathe out. He has such a presence there.
If Ludacris was doing the hook to this song would be like 10 times better.
I can't see that either.
No, it's not 10 times better, but it would have been improved.
Ever so slightly. And honestly, we're going to instrumental for this one. I don't care about it at all, really.
I can't even remember it.
No, I mean, it has this...
That was Breathe In, Breathe Out. I just did the wrong instrumental. That's how forgettable it was.
I think we should move on then to the next song.
To Barry Bonds, which, okay, honestly, the first time hearing this intro, I was genuinely excited that this album was about to jump in quality.
No, we were listening to it. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, no, honestly, I can put this song pretty close to I Wonder in quality for the most part.
At least instrumentally, kind of.
I need to say, I need to make a formal apology to someone before we really talk about this song.
Oh, God.
Dear Jay-Z, for all the ragging on your features, for every bad bar, for every time you've broken the lyrical theming of a song and I've called you out on it, I'm sorry. What I realized on the day of writing this apology is that I should have been focusing my efforts on the much bigger, larger, greater in size problem, Lil Wayne, whom is a man with the worst feature on a Kanye song up to this point, and I am gonna be surprised if that spot is ever taken from him.
Okay. I didn't like it, but I don't have nearly as much criticism as you. So I'll let you go on and ramble about that, Matt.
So, okay. Lil Wayne's flow literally sounds like this might be a little harsh, but it literally sounds like a three-legged 20-year-old golden retriever that is weeks away from cardiac arrest. It's like that lopsided and asking to be put out of its misery.
Holy shit. This is the hardest you've gone on anything, man. I've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed this. Not to mention the stinkers on this fucking feature, dude. Like, okay, listen.
Okay.
Whenever they make them, I shall have them. Oops, I meant have them. I'm so crazy. I'm such a havoc. Oops, I meant havoc. And this line that doesn't make any sense. And I ate it 'cause I'm so avid.
No homo.
No homo.
What the fuck?
What does that even mean?
Oh my god, I'm crying. Matt. Oh, I was just gonna, I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say it feels a bit dopey, but I think you hit the nail.
This is the worst feature.
Oh, I think that's Barry Bonds, guys. Oh no! I need to at least mention a couple more things. Like, I mean, what are you gonna say? The lyrics. Kanye compares himself to a baseball player that keeps hitting home runs. Yeah, we get it right now. But I mean, look. Look, the beat is much harder.
My God.
You mentioned it earlier that like for a while you were like, this is decent. Yeah, the beat is much harder and darker than the previous songs. I almost like how comically evil it sounds.
Yeah.
But the other thing, it weirds me out how Kanye says "dude" at the start of the second verse. You need to hear that if you haven't heard that. Like, please check it. It is. It doesn't even sound like him.
No, it doesn't. No, I'm listening to it right now. It does not sound like him.
It sounds like a surfer dude. But yeah, that, and then the one other line where I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. The visual imagery of Kanye telling his haters that I'm insulted, you should go ahead, bow so hard till your knees hit your forehead. I just like that imagery. That's all I have to say about Barry Bonds. I think you explained it perfectly with the Lil Wayne verse.
Yeah, it's not great. But
oh God.
we going from that, I think that is a nice transition into
the worst song on the album for me.
The objectively worst song on the album and a famously terrible Kanye song.
Yes, this is not a fucking surprise to anyone. The Drunken Hot Girls, with the name like Drunken Hot Girls, being the worst Kanye song on this record. My least favorite. There's no hidden meaning here, man.
No.
It's about Kanye and his friends messing around, getting drunk with
It's about him complaining about girls that are hot. They just get drunk and they can do whatever they want because they're hot.
And then Kanye goes on to do whatever he wants with them. He goes to the drive-thru, gets some burger or whatever, and then she throws up in his car. That it's just like, dude, there's nothing here lyrically.
There's not, like, the lyrics are embarrassing. The feature of that girl's vocals, they're mixed so poorly. You can't hear what she's saying. It sounds like she's phoning it in. Like, it literally sounds like it's through a phone call.
The sample?
And her delivery. Is that a sample?
I'm pretty sure. Drunky Hot Girls. He's not even, if I'm not wrong.
Drunky Hot Girls.
I'm pretty
like,
sure.
That's what it sounds like.
Two things. I'm pretty sure it's a sample, and I'm pretty sure it's a guy. The other thing is, I'm pretty sure he's not even saying drunk and hot girls. From what I remember, Kanye interpolated it as, like, drunk and hot girls. But that's not what he was actually saying. He just thought it sounded like that, so he put it in the song. Like, I'm pretty confident that that's what it was.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean,
still mixed terribly, but
oh yeah, no, there's some terrible, laughable moments in this song. For me, like that, the third verse where Kanye mocks the girl singing.
It's oh god,
you sound like that. I thought it was funny.
It's funny, but if you're not paying strict attention to the lyrics, it jumps out to you so like horribly,
like it did when we were listening to it for the first
like you're
time.
you're listening to this, and by this point in the album, you've been drained. So like this song is almost like the final nail in the coffin. This is on another level of just draining, and then at 3 verses in, Kanye just goes ah, la, 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 and it completely just like, what is this song?
Yeah, I remember our reaction when we listened to it for the first time in a while. We were like, wait a minute, we had to rewind and like hear it, and we're like, oh, okay, but that was pretty fucking funny.
I do need to concede one thing though.
Huh.
I do think Mos Def's bridge here genuinely sounds pretty good.
I thought he could have done another take or two.
He could have, but like the overall sound of it, I think even though his like delivery of it could have been a lot better, I like it, the sound of it in concept.
Yeah, you know,
that's
I
how
agree.
far I'm stretching to compliment this song.
No, I agree. And as Besides the other horrible lyrics on this song, there's the other line, the ad lib Kanye does of a little sippy sippy. I think that's how I feel about this song. Towards the end of the song.
What does that even mean?
I think he's drinking. That's what the song's about, Matt. I feel drunk talking about this song, man.
Oh, I got you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's like, how is this the same person that released The College Dropout? Going into Flashing Lights, now you will remember.
Yeah. Oh, God. What a fucking...
You know what this album is?
Whiplash of a transition.
Okay. You know what this album is?
What is it?
Do you know what edging is?
Yes, I know what edging
That's
is.
this album. And this is the nut point.
The nuts point?
The nut point.
This is Flashing Lights.
You're going so far without satisfaction through 8 songs. And then finally, you get what you actually wanted.
Welcome to Flashing Lights, guys.
Welcome to Flashing Lights, where this is in a different album now.
Yeah. No, you're right. After this, our demeanors are going to completely change about talking about the album. Like,
oh yeah,
it's going to go to from complete and utter agony to this is really good.
Yeah.
So
genuinely, the track list from here on contains some of my favorite Kanye songs, period.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So
it makes it so extra weird that it's in the same album as everything before it.
Right before this was Drunken Hot Girls, and then you get this fucking song with this synth strings that start off into this 4-on-the-floor beat, and then it's followed by the best synth line in the entire album that's stuttering and catchy as all hell. Like,
oh yeah.
How did you do that? How do you do that? How do you sequence this track list? Even if you were to, like, take out the previous, like, I don't know, let's say 5 songs, because the first 3 I think are tolerable. What do you put in between? Like, I guess we don't know what Kanye was planning behind the scenes, but either way, like, the jump in quality of Flashing Lights is so immediate and jarring.
It's so massive.
Yes. It's
like, from the first sound you hear, the mixing jumps up to like a new level that you had not really heard up to this point. So like the first sound you hear is already gracing your ears with something, again, on a new level.
Mm-hmm. The chorus sung by, how do I say it? Duele, I think is his name. It's one of the best hooks on the chorus. Like one of the best hooks on the album besides Stronger. It's so catchy and melodic, and and then behind the strings and then the synth like repeating itself over and over with the flashing lights like little hook sample thing, which I don't know what it is, repeating itself in the background. All of it together makes for this grand, epic, more urgent part of the album. Not even part of the album, just song that wasn't on the previous songs. The song it has like a bunch of different changes directions, kinda.
This feels like that kind of grandiose concert sound that he was trying to achieve earlier, but this time he hits the nail squarely on the head.
Right, and I think maybe his idea was just bringing the electronics and the heavier drums would work. I mean, they're both present here. They were present on the other songs, so it's weird that this one works way better than the others.
Mm-hmm.
And the jump in quality is so much better than the others. I mean, even the lyrics for here, like relative to the others, he raps about a situation where he's enthralled by this old flame and he's like cheating on his current level and dealing with the feelings that come with that. Like, that's different than everything else up to this point.
Yeah, no, completely. You know what gets me? Earlier, I talked about how pretty much a general rule, not everything follows this, a general rule of a Kanye song is there is at least one bar per song where I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened until this song. With the bar, I'm just saying, hey, Mona Lisa, come home. Yes. You know you can't roam without Caesar. When I realized it was a Rome pun, I went, oh shit.
But you haven't gotten to up to this point. Like,
no, it hasn't happened. The level of Kanye level quality has been lacking until this.
Yeah, and like honestly, from here, it feels like a different record. It feels like it's more in tune with this trilogy that he's kind of come up with, because the next song, Everything I Am, literally feels like it's straight off of Late Registration.
Oh my god, dude! Everything I Am is as of this point, across all 3 albums that we've gone through, this is my favorite Kanye song lyrically.
Okay.
I could spend 40 minutes just talking about how solid each and every bar is on this song. That's how much I like them. There's genuinely not a bar on this song that isn't great to me.
Yeah, I have my couple favorites, but the song itself, it's slower. It sounds like it's off Late Reg. It's backed by a piano sample by Philip Mitchell. It's soulful. It's blissful. It's smooth. Something we haven't really gotten up to this point either. Kanye actually explaining his attitudes, his flaws, his arrogance makes him who he is, and he's not forcing himself to live up to the other expectations of people, which I guess is like we're criticizing him right now, right? We're kind of proving his point in a way.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter, because that's a whole thing with critics and music and whatnot that I'm not going to go into today. But go on.
Oh, yeah. I mean, as always, our opinions are the opinions of 2 random people talking about something unqualified. I mean, there's no way to be qualified to even talk about this. Mm-hmm. So,
which makes it so that anyone can talk about it.
Correct.
Cool. Now talk about why this song is fucking great, Matt.
I think that so like he's just been jacking himself off and talking about how cool he is and great he is. This does that in the most introspective way he really does it on the album.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes that main theme of the victory lap that this album is supposed to be.
Technically, it's like the victory lap, because the Late Reg was the victory lap. This is
Late Reg was 50% victory lap.
This
like was
Kanye
100% victory lap.
This is like Kanye is like at 9 p.m. after school. He's running around the track and no one's there, and the only one cheering him on is like, I don't know, his friend or something.
No, you know what it is?
What?
He was running laps at like 5 a.m. before, like 4:30, before like people have even gotten to school. And once flashing lights hit, that's when everybody actually got to school.
Oh, that's pretty good. I like that. But yeah, no, he talks about it in such an introspective way. Like,
yeah.
There's those, and then of course he's funny with it too. Like, there are those fucking lyrics. My favorite being, "People talk so much shit about me at barbershops, they forget to get their hair cut."
It's so good. And also, I love the hook of "Everything I'm Not Made Me Everything I Am."
Yeah, me too. The whole chorus part, I love that section of lyrics.
Honestly, I would get satisfaction just going line by line through this whole song and just being like, yes, after every single line.
We're not going to for the sake of time.
We're not going to do that. That would take 40 minutes. I would be happy for every one of those 40 minutes.
Just listen to the album. You'll get more entertainment out of it. At least, like, no, just listen to Flashing Lights Past. Don't need to listen to the rest of it. That's
well,
not
if
true.
you want the full edging experience, definitely take the whole album.
I want to mention how, one more time before we're done, how the song nearly ends after the lyrics, "That's enough, Mr. West, please no more today." Then the song record scratches its way back in after being like completely dropped for a while. Yeah. And it does it so smoothly every time, like that. It feels like Late Reg. It feels like something that would have done.
And you know what I love is the first lyric you hear after that record scratch, after he's been kicked out of the confessionals because he's been there too long. Kanye says, "Damn, here we go again."
Right.
It's so good.
Oh, Kanye. Yeah, I know. You're having like the same thoughts that I am. I'm just not like vocalizing them as much. Like, how? Like, how'd you make the previous previous 8 songs?
It's so confusing.
And then make this. Like, I don't know, man.
I don't get it, dude. Anyway.
Let's keep going, because this is the part of the album we enjoy.
This is such a solid part of the album. And the
let's
glory.
not harp on the rest. Yeah.
The Glory has crept up on me harder than like any Kanye song. I don't know how this slipped under my radar when I listened to it the first time. And like when you're listening to this for the first time, this intro is confirmation that the momentum from the last two songs is gonna get carried all the way to the end of the album.
And this is the one that I felt like feels more like not a late reg pick, but like a college dropout pick in a way. Like both, they kind of it's almost melded in a way. Like they're both there's elements from both, and then this new element.
Because you know what, the what is it? The sample and Kanye kind of like his little intro. It makes me think a lot of School Spirit.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. It draws a lot of parallels to the sound of that, but it also has the more kind of like filled out chill sound that Late Reg has.
Mm-hmm.
And it blends them so well. And Kanye, since Flashing Lights, has been back to his great buttery smooth flow that he's known for.
Mm-hmm.
So it fits perfectly over that instrumental.
And then also having like that soul sample, like Laura Nyro's "Save the Country." It's extremely soulful with the hook, but then he doubles back with a bigger chorus and a John Legend sitting behind there too on the chorus.
It's so good.
It's so nice.
Okay, so I quote unquote calculated it. Ye had around 23 minutes worth of songs dedicated to like just celebrating his success on the first part of the album. And in 3.5 minutes, he put every single one of those songs to shame with this. Like, none of them are close to being on the level of like, holy shit, Kanye, I'm completely on board with you right now with how you should be celebrating your success.
Yeah, and honestly, like, there's little to no electronics in the song either. I didn't really notice any besides like the drums.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and the other he also references We Major, which was a nice little touch that we both freaked out of when we first heard that.
Oh yeah.
Can I talk my shit again?
It's so good.
Yeah, but this one, well, I mean, I was trying to get the lyrics. He kind of explains that he's been like motivated by fame ever since the beginning, which I thought was a little unusual. If I was interpreting it right.
Kanye always had the dream of being successful, living that famous life.
Okay, so the way I was looking at it was in the lens of the front half of the album, not the back half, or something of like he always wanted the fame. That's all he's cared about, and not this fame has helped me through so much shit. Sort of way.
Yeah, it's more the second part. He always wanted the fame, but I think he's had a lot of songs that talk about it, like bits and pieces of it.
Mm-hmm. He feels more grateful.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But like, it's the 50-50 point of I'm famous, fuck y'all, and I'm famous, thank God.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, honestly, like, he's done it previously, though, so I'm not nearly as impressed, but this is still, like, a great song for that. I mean, especially coming on Graduation this late in the game when we just realize, like, oh, shit, like, he's just doing the same thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's almost like a different, like, he's actually trying now. Not to say he wasn't trying on the previous ones, but, yeah, but for the Glory is a fucking great, like, change of pace into this next set of songs, which continues on Homecoming.
Which is another unexpected crazy crossover with John Coldplay from Coldplay.
The hook is sung by Chris Martin from Coldplay, the lead singer, and for the longest time, this feature was so weird to me, but the more I listened and thought about it, it just settled in perfectly. So Coldplay has always had this like contemporary taste in features in their own music, rap verses from other artists in their own music. Jay-Z was on a song, and from later on past that, they've always had those like contemporary artist features, Rihanna, the Chainsmokers, blah blah blah. But it's also not surprising that because of that, Chris would want to drop on a track with Kanye. Not to mention like that piano loop is very Coldplay either. it sounds something that they might write. In fact, they might have written it. I don't think it was a sample. It's an unusual feature, but it works very well in the song.
Yeah, no, the feature works fantastically. A lot of the elements of this song. There's one problem I have with this song.
What is it?
So while it's got a ton of elements that embody this feeling of Kanye's celebration perfectly, like the crowd cheering in the background, I love that to death. It feels like Ye is like riding into Chicago on the back of like a party float, rapping his bars with like a crowd of people just cheering him on, and like it's deserved. But for me, only in the context of the album, it kind of embodies that same message of Kanye just celebrating, and like the fact that over half of the runtime of this album is dedicated to that. It's hard to have a lot of appreciation to this lyrically, because as much as I really want to act like it doesn't, the first half of this album very much does exist.
Yeah, I mean, at least for me, the thing that kind of blinded that for me, I wouldn't even say that. It's just I kind of knew, but I figured the execution was much better.
Oh, the execution is so much better. Yeah, I'm just saying the themes are just, it's tired at this point.
It's tired, but then at least he does something different with comparing the city of Chicago, him coming back to a girl that he met when he moved there at 3 years old. From that point, like he becomes extremely proud of his hometown, and he wants to talk about it. And whenever he does come back, he tells the metaphorical city girl that about his life, about how grateful he is for that. So like in that sense, it's different for me.
I can see that.
I do like that, but I see no, you're not wrong in saying that it's tired. We're at the almost like last track of the album, and we're still hearing this. So
yeah.
It'd be best to move on to something different.
There is one part of this song that unintentionally makes me laugh every time I hear it, and it is Chris Martin's Lo-Yo-Yos.
That is such a Coldplay thing, man. You're not. Have you ever listened to them? You've heard them do that little oh-yo-yo or something like that. That's like a refrain where he's like vocalizing and not really singing.
Yeah, it's not a real fault against the song, but no, it's just like it always makes me laugh because of how like silly it is.
Yeah, expect that when we eventually cover Coldplay.
Oh man, I'm gonna be laughing my head off if that's the case.
I mean, it's gonna be in the context of a Coldplay record, so you already be like, whatever. Big Brother, let's
Big
go.
Brother,
fucking Big
love
Brother.
Letter to Jay-Z.
Whoa. We would have expected an album about Kanye. All about Kanye. I mean...
Yeah, I honestly love that he goes from... I mean, he still is talking about his own fame in this song.
Okay.
But he kind of takes it from the perspective of Jay-Z helped me a lot on this, and we've kind of been like... It feels like he's talking about how, like... You know, the student and the master, and then the student goes past the master...
Yes.
It's like Kanye's the student, Jay-Z's the master, and Kanye has gone past him, and then he's taking this song to kind of appreciate Jay-Z.
Yeah, it's almost perfect in a sense, being the last song on the Graduation trilogy. In a way, because it's a reflection on the main person that was with him throughout most of his career, besides his mother, you know, and a lot of the other producers and people that he brought alongside him. But Jay-Z was one of the main people. So,
yeah,
in that way, I think it's a great way to end the record, even if the themes are scattered.
The weird thing, Kanye was not planning on 808s coming after this. If somehow you don't know, 808s... The thing that sparked 808s to be created was the passing of Kanye West's mom. So, the fact that he unintentionally wrote the perfect closure to a chapter in his discography that nobody knew would even be a chapter is so weird to me.
Yeah.
This is like some simulation shit.
I mean... I don't know. Like, it's not like he predicted it, But let's be honest. He ended The College Dropout with a song about his career up to that point and appreciating it. And while he didn't end Late Reg with that, he had plenty of songs like professing his love and appreciation towards those who helped them along the way.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that he would do the same thing for his, quote, brother, the big brother, metaphorical, right? It's Jay-Z.
Not to mention how much of a sound of closure that this song has. The like guitar in the background with the piano almost feels like some foreshadowing to MBDTF's sound.
Yeah, there are hints of it I mean, there always have been. The instrumental of it is like, it has guitars in it. It has strings, melodic piano, reflective synths. I think it's perfect in like how emotional it is.
Yeah.
And you can kind of hear that in MBDTF as well.
Mm-hmm.
But, God, I just love the little story or ramble he goes on about how the beginning of his relationship when they were in the studio beginning, as well as some of the struggles of Kanye, like walking alongside such a giant in the industry, like how he felt overshadowed by Jay-Z. And now it's the opposite. How Jay-Z made a song with Coldplay because Kanye told him he made a song with Coldplay. It's sweet. It's heartfelt in the sense that like Kanye and most people wouldn't do this sort of thing. Just talk about a relationship of someone who he was close to in the industry.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's kind of expected considering like Hey Mama and the songs where he does that appreciation spiel. But I think like his whole main message is to tell your loved ones that you really care about them, that you appreciate them.
Yeah.
And those lyrics, if you admire somebody, you should go tell them people never get the flowers while they could still smell them, sort of line.
It's such a good line.
Yeah, it's such a good way to end the album. But, I don't know. Like, it's weird that Graduation ended with this when half of it was all this Kanye bragging stuff.
Yeah. It's, I guess, moving on to final thoughts.
I'm fine with it, yeah.
It's such a weird case. 'Cause, like, I've never had an album that is this backloaded with great stuff and front-loaded with just, like, nothing. It's such a difficult album to, like, put my finger on how I feel about.
I think I've gotten a solid point down, so if you want me to talk about it first,
go on.
Yeah,
talk
so
about it.
Kanye, his whole thing was that he was attempting to bring his art to the next level once again with this album. Here to change the game as a bigger, more explosive, pop-driven sound. It's more of a pop rap album than anything. And by all means, he did make an explosion in the community. This album sold extremely well and delivered one of the most popular Kanye songs and albums in history. Like I said, a lot of people like this record. But the album itself has quite a bit of flaws. Its sound, while somewhat revolutionary in a sense, it's become a lot simpler. More synths, heavier drums, more of a stadium feel. And that was something that Kanye strived to do when making this record. But, in turn, the sound he produces is not nearly as impressive, revolutionary, layered, or textured as the sounds of Late Registration and The College Dropout. That is like a huge thing for me, with just how much more textured those records are compared to this one. Lyrically and like theme-wise, it feels like a misstep. Kanye is at a point where it feels normal to be bragging about his gratuitous lifestyle. That's expected, but the amount of time that takes up on the record is way too much for me. It doesn't have the same punch. Even if we're talking about the most emotional songs on the record, I do feel like they've been done slightly better. And I do love that Kanye doesn't have to worry about having the struggles that he used to, honestly. Like, it's great. But I don't need to hear about it for, like, 60% of the record.
Yeah.
And, of course, it has the very questionable songs. Questionable dated songs. Drunken Hot Girls, Good Life. And especially the Lil Wayne verse on Barry Bonds. I did enjoy this record for the most part. Maybe the first 3 songs, kinda, and especially the last 5. But the rest feels like a 2007 fever dream that I, like, vaguely remember living throughout since I was there for most of it. As for Kanye's career, it was an interesting direction to take it in. I'll say, at the very least, I'm glad we talked about it. I'm glad we had the chance to look at these records, take it in with fresh ears, fresh eyes, whatever. And we're on our way to the next Kanye chapter, but for me, for right now, this record's a 6 out of 10.
Yeah. I mean, you embodied most of what I was going to say. I think there isn't even, like... You talk about the first 3 songs are on, like, a higher level than the ones surrounding them.
Yeah.
For me, when I listen to this record, every song from number 1 to number 8 feels like just a bumpy road of a slog where I'm just waiting for it to get better. Because the things that actually catch my ear on the first part of this album are so few and far between that it's just not an enjoyable experience to me, really, in the slightest. But an album where pretty much a third of the album is arguably some of the best, if not at least on the same level as the rest of the stuff they've put out, it's hard for me to really enjoy this album as a whole. And I honestly think giving all the songs equal weight in the scoring, it's a solid, like, right between a 5 and a 6 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I expected. I expected to feel a little bit better about this record after the fact, but, you know, that's just the way things are going right now.
Yeah. Honestly, like, the thing is, when I finish listening to this album, I'm like, hey, that wasn't that bad. Because I forget how much I wanted to, like, strangle something at the end of Drunken Hot Girls.
And the Lil Wayne verse, not to mention.
Don't even get me started. I'm gonna I'm gonna plop a blood vessel.
Oh, God. I don't want that to happen. So, next time, Matt, you ready? You don't know what I'm gonna pick.
I do not know what you're gonna pick, and I'm very terrified.
No. So, my pick for next week, Matt, is I Love You, Honey Bear by Father John Misty. Don't worry, Matt. Don't worry, Matt. It's not nearly as fucking crazy as Pure Comedy. And that is more of a lyrical thing. I Love You, Honey Bear. I Love You, Honey Bear is at least, like, easier, we'll call it. And the reason I'm not picking the first Father John Misty record is because I don't love that record. I just want to skip to I Love You, Honey Bear. Honestly, it's fine. There's not like a lyrical story going on here. It's just a really good record, and I hope you enjoy that one. So, yeah. Ready, Matt?
For an artist I've been terrified to review, let's go.
That's a starting round. Don't worry. All right, then. See you guys next week.